Hey, hey there, what do you say there? Beautiful day there. The time is upon us again. The rhyme is upon us again. The shine is upon us again. This is Jerome Shaw, host of the Open Palm Podcast Motivator. Meditator, coming at you as we take another look inside of another book with these wisdom of the ages, going through the Pranic stages. This is Jerome Shaw, and welcome back to the Pranic pages. Now, today we're taking a look inside of a book by Viktoras Kulvinskas. Viktoras Kulvinskas. The book is titled Survival in the 21st Century, Planetary Healer's Manual. And this is a very interesting book. I love the cover, very colorful, if you've ever seen this book. And before we say this, as we are proceeding through these readings, if you want to take a look at any of the other books, there is a playlist. And of course, that playlist is available to you. It's called the Pranic pages. So this chapter is called Breatharianism, Sunshine for Lunch. I can't believe that, said Alice. Can't you? Said the Queen in a pitying tone. Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes. Alice laughed. There's no use trying, she said. One can't believe impossible things. I dare say you haven't had much practice, said the Queen. When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. In Christ, we shall neither hunger nor thirst. John 6, verse 35. It is written that it is not by bread alone that one can live, but by every word which proceeds from the mouth of God. Matthew 4, verse 4. The human being was created perfect and placed in a garden of fruits and streams. He and she were free of all bodily appetites and had no desire to taste the fruit or quaff the water. Moreover, they had been commanded by divine providence not to eat or drink, as that would inject foreign substances into their perfect bodies, causing them to deteriorate, decay, and die. People were mere children when 100 years old, and none of the infirmities of age. When ready to pass on to the region of the superior life, it was a gentle slumber. From the fables of the ancient Magi. Let they who seek not cease seeking until they find. And when they find, they will not be troubled. They will marvel and will reign over the all. The Gospel according to Thomas. If you do not take food, that already frees you from this unconsciousness that you have no longer to assimilate and transform within you. That liberates energy in you. Then, as there is an instance in the being to make up for energy spent, if you do not gather it from food, i.e. from below, you make automatically an effort to draw it from the universal vital energy which is free around you. And if you can assimilate that energy, assimilate it directly. then there is no limit to your energy. Sri Aurobindo. We have a guest. You see him? Hey, buddy. Always love it when the squirrels come by. He said, I want to hear the good word. What's the good word, good sir? That's my ADHD talking. I'm worried about the squirrels out here. Breatharianism was the most perfect state of the human being. He and she lived on solar radiation. The food and drug addicted masses, through habitual gluttony, have closed the entry of the spirit. When the stomach works, the vital force is centered in the digestive organs instead of the 5 sinus chambers in the head. Few search out the cosmic truths of life and put them into practice. Oh, how narrow is the door, and how difficult is the road which carries to life, and few are those who are found on it. That's from Matthew 7, verse 14. Every life process is reversible. It might take from a few weeks to many years to make the transition back to the most fitting diet for the human being. Paradisiacal fruit. Those who have the soul of Methuselah and a body fit to climb the peaks may well transcend even this height to attain breatharianism. Hey, buddy. Professor Hilton Hotima discussed the subject in Man's Higher Consciousness. The lungs, not the stomach, are the life organs. The lifeline is the spinal cord, not the alimentary canal. The most vital function is breathing. For as we know, that we may perish quicker without breathing than we ever would without eating or drinking. If human beings consumed only radiation through his and her respiratory organs, as they did in an early golden age, when they lived 1,000 years according to tradition, if the radiation were never polluted, if the procreative function remained dormant, sickness would be unknown. Professor Hilton Hotima emphasized that the return must be slow and carefully thought out. So not to be in a rush, right? Not to be in a race, to go at your own pace, slowly and gradually, easily and effortlessly, calmly and consistently, patiently and persistently, right? People must slowly reduce the amount of food ingested daily in order to give the body time to meet the new conditions and adjust to the perfect physical state of long ago, when the air people inhaled supplied all the stimulation the body needed. So I'll say that last part once again. Going back to adjust to the perfect physical state of long ago, when the air people inhaled, supplied all the stimulation the body needed. So all that was needed was already there within the air. It is only that we start to become aware. As one decreases food intake and evolves into a breatharian lifestyle, physiological changes may be anticipated. The textbook, The Human Body, describes the early stages of growth of the alimentary canal. The human digestive tract in the embryo is relatively straight and uncomplicated, but as development proceeds, the tubes become coiled in the abdomen, the abdominal region, as a result of its rapid increase in length, in contrast to the development of other parts of the body. It is possible that in one or more generations, the abnormal length of the alimentary canal could be eliminated, starting with the diet and lifestyle of the mother. At an early fetal stage, the alimentary canal is the length of the spine. By the time one reaches adulthood, the canal is 13 times the length of the spine. There is an exchange of material between mother and fetus. If the mother is toxic and full of mucus, this enters the fetal digestive tract, causing it to distend. Some newborns from extremely toxic mothers immediately vomit mucus or have a bloody stool of mucoid material. Due to faulty diet, distension of the digestive tract increases through childhood and adulthood. A similar convolution can be observed in the development of varicose veins. At birth, the blood-carrying tubes are straight, unconvoluted, and without blockages. But after many years of misuse of the body, toxic deposits cause them to stretch and bulge into varicosities. A similar phenomena perhaps occurs in the development of the intestine. A dietary change can reduce varicose veins to their original structure. Is it possible that similarly, the digestive tract can be reduced in length? When people lived on solar radiation and air, they received the exact energy needs of the body. Lungs and skin collected the needed energy and eliminated waste. When you try to balance food intake, you are apt to get too much of one nutrient and not enough of others. Depending upon the climate in which people live, in order to compensate for the intensity of sunlight, the skin pigment gets darker or lighter to ensure that the right amount and quality of rays will enter the cells of the body. Pigment acts as a filter, which reduces both the intensity and the quality of the light spectrum that penetrates the skin. Dr. Alexis Carroll states that the body seems to mold itself on events. Instead of wearing out, it changes. Our organs always improvise in meeting every situation, and these means are always such that they tend to give us maximum duration. In our time, there are enough examples of individuals who have transcended the nutritional myth to give us the feeling that what was can be. So this is available for you and me. One heroic figure is Barbara Moore, MD of London. A news release reads, "A woman of 50 who looks like she was only 30 claimed yesterday that she hates food, has beaten old age, and expects to live at least 150 years. She has set out to do it by giving up food." Very interesting. 20 years ago, she ate 3 normal meals a day. Slowly, For 12 years, she reduced her eating until she was keeping fit on 1 meal a day of grass, chickweed, clover, dandelion, and an occasional glass of fruit juice. 5 years ago, she switched entirely to juices and raw tomatoes, oranges, grasses, and herbs. Now, she drinks nothing but a glass of water, flavored with a few drops of lemon juice. She says, there is much more in sunlight and air than can be seen with the naked eye or with scientific instruments. The secret is to find the way to absorb that extra, that cosmic radiation, and turn it into food. Each year, she goes to Switzerland for the better air and climbs mountains on a diet of water from the streams. You see, she explains, my body cells and blood have changed considerably in composition. I'm impervious to heat and hunger or fatigue, she continued. Winter or summer, even in Switzerland, I wear only a short-sleeved jumper and skirt. In cold weather, people stare at me. She getting them looks, right? This is one for the books. In cold weather, people stare at me. While they shiver in furs, I am warm. I'm as strong as a man and need only 3 hours sleep for mental relaxation. As my body is free of toxins, I am never ill. I had to advance slowly from vegetarianism to uncooked fruit and then to liquid. Now, I am working towards cosmic food or air. I've passed the eating stage and could not eat if I desired, as my alimentary canal has changed considerably. It is no longer a filthy tube and is unable to handle any fiber. Instead of thinking my life will end in 10 years, I'm growing younger. Anyone can do the same if they try. The tragedy is that eating is one of the greatest pleasures of life. To stop eating is to experience discomfort only when the body is adjusting itself to the new course, which was the original course. I now find even the odor of food nauseating. In 1961, Dr. Maurice Krop of Durban, South Africa, published Conquest of Dis-ease, where he reproduced a part of a speech by Dr. Moore. This is an extract. By experimenting on myself, I've found that neither energy nor body heat comes from food. Let me read that again. Let's read that again. By experimenting on myself, I have found that neither energy nor body heat comes from food. It's a fact, paradoxical, yet true, that I spent 3 months in the mountains of Switzerland and Italy, eating nothing but snow and drinking only snow water. I was climbing mountains daily, not just fasting and sitting down and reading a book or gazing at the sky. No, I was hiking daily from my hotel to the mountains, often 15 miles, climbing up to 7,000 or 8,000 feet, then coming down and walking another 15 to 20 miles to my hotel. During my fasting, I climbed mountains daily, and if I could not account for bad weather, so saying if there was bad weather, I would walk for 30 to 40 miles. Okay, due to the weather. So counting on the weather, she could actually walk to 30 to 40 miles. That proved it to me. Year after year, I've done the same thing to find out whether it's true or not. For 1 year, it may work, and the next, it may not work with the same body. So I've done it year after year and find that neither energy nor heat of the body comes from physical food. When I discovered this, I went a step further. I wanted to see whether I could live without food at all. Not for 2 or 3 months, but a longer period. I found this also possible, but not quite on an ordinary level, as it were. I can do that in the mountains, but it is more difficult when I come down to an ordinary level. I find the air is different. I hope in time to live entirely on air. I'm a very busy person and have little time to sleep. I am never tired or hungry. Fascinating. In the press and occult magazines, there are reports of many examples of breatharians. Balayogini Sarasvati, Amma, India, for 3 years lived on water only. Mary Fruitner, a Bavarian girl who lived on water without food for 40 years, was under observation for a time in Munich in 1835. Judah Mehler, Grand Rabbi, 1660 to 1751, ate and drank sparingly 1 day a week, broke his fast about 12 times a year on Jewish holidays, led a busy life as rabbi of 3 communities, lived to be 91, Ripley's Believe It or Not. Dr. T.Y. Gann gave the following report on Yand Mel, age 20, who hasn't eaten for the last 9 years. She shows no signs of starvation, leads a perfectly normal life, except for having lost desire for food. Her alimentary tract has become dormant and rudimentary. She takes no water. Karibala Dasi, sister of Babulam Boxer, pleader of Perulia, has been living for the past 40 years without taking food or water and has done her regular household duties with no apparent injury to her health. Danalak Shumi of Markara, India, age 18, for over a year took no food or water. She leads a normal, healthy life. At age 14, her appetite diminished until she could not assimilate anything. The Indian government sent her to be examined at the Bangalore General Hospital in Bombay. Teresa Avila, Bavarian peasant, 1898, born 1898, has taken no food, no water, and no sleep since 1926. She is not thin or sickly, works in her garden, and described as one of the happiest persons. Giribala, which we talked about in the autobiography of a yogi with Paramahansa Yogananda, that chapter on the woman, or the woman yogi who never eats. Giribala, Bihar, West Bengal, now over 70 years, as a child, had an insatiable appetite, but has taken no food nor fluid since she was 12. She has never been sick, is an expert in pranayama and yoga, is always happy, looks like a child, does normal housework, has no bodily excretions. Her case was investigated by the late Sri Bijali Chand Mahtab, Maharaja of Burdwan. There is a beautiful simplicity in this approach. It enables one to get away from the gross and intoxicating nature of food, which leads the average person to spend at least 1/3 of his or her lifetime in the unconscious state of sleep, and the rest of it in a stupor of unproductive, demoralizing labor. The ancient ones taught in their texts that people were and are breatharian, living on solar radiation and air. Could it be possible that they were right? And we'll take a pause right here. Until next time, my dear. And thank you for listening and glistening as we are taking these looks and these wonderful books. As we are heading through the stages with more wisdom of the ages from today's modern sages. This has been Jerome Shaw, and we'll see you next time on the Pranic Pages.